Good morning, everybody. And I want to thank Speaker Pelosi, Senator Shaheen, and Representative Allred, and all of our Senate and House Democrats who are here with us today. Now, last week we learned of President Trump and Attorney General Barr's decision to change their legal position and declare the entire Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. This is an escalation of their earlier outrageous position that pre-existing conditions are unconstitutional. Now they want to hurt the American people even more. In two short sentences, the Department of Justice summed up the Trump and the Republican position: health care coverage for nearly 20 million Americans, pre-existing condition protections, and tax credits to afford care should all be taken away with no plan whatsoever to replace them. The potential consequences of this politically motivated move can't be overstated. Skyrocketing costs for families, massive increases in prescription drug spending for seniors on Medicare, women charged more because they're a woman, seniors charged more because of their age, cancer patients denied coverage, and the cruel list, goes on and on and on. Democrats condemn in the strongest of terms the Republican attacks against the American people, and that is why we are here today. Today, Senate and House Democrats are introducing resolutions to reverse this misguided and cruel decision by the Trump administration's Department of Justice. All 47 Democrats in the Senate are united in demanding that President Trump and Attorney General Barr reverse their callous legal assault on Americans' health care. Republicans failed, as you may recall. Republicans failed to pass any of their health care plans in Congress, so they're trying to repeal health care in the courts. This reeks of desperation, and they do not have a backup plan. Last night, the president tweeted that they will come up with their plan in 2021. Translation: they have no health care plan. It's the same old song they've been singing. They're for repeal, they have no replace. President Trump confirmed that he will hold Americans hostage through the 2020 election when it comes to health care. He promises, re-elect me, and maybe you can take a peek at my backup plan after that, which they don't have. What a ruse. What a shame. What a disgrace. We know that what the Republicans' health care plan might look like: gut protections for Americans with pre-existing conditions, massive losses of coverage, destabilize insurance markets, help the big fat insurance companies, the drug companies, and all their special interest wealthy donors. So when President Trump insists he has a magic plan that we can see if only the American people re-elect him, we know it's just not true. The American people will not stand for the president playing cynical games with health care and politically by betting with the health of 20, 30, 40 million Americans. He is sure to lose. Don't let President Trump fool you, America. Republicans are not the party of health care. They are the party that wants to end your health care. We Democrats will not stop fighting tooth and nail to protect Americans' health care today, tomorrow, and on in through 2021. Leader Pelosi.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to join the distinguished Democratic leader of the United States Senate, Senator Shaheen, a leader on protecting the care of the American people, and Colin Allred from the House of Representatives, a freshman member who's taken the lead on this issue from day one in the Congress. We're here to condemn what the president did. Last week, the Trump administration radically expanded its war on the Affordable Care Act, on Americans' health care, asking the court to strike down every last provision of the ACA. The distinguished leader went through some of the concerns, some bear repeating. Imagine that he would say, after the Republicans misrepresented their position on pre-existing conditions. Remember during the campaign they said, oh, we're for the benefit of not having pre-existing condition be a barrier to your access to health care. They said that in spite of the fact that over and over again they had voted to eliminate that benefit. And now the president is acting in a way to not only eliminate that benefit, which is so important, also to eliminate a companion benefit that goes with a pre-existing condition, to eliminate the ban on lifetime limits and annual limits on people who need health care. This is terrible. Being a woman, no longer a pre-existing condition under the ACA. Up to 26 years of age, you can be on your parents' policy. Lengthening the stability and the solvency of Medicare. They don't care. They think Medicare should wither on the vine. That is the Republican mantra. When Medicare was passed, they said it would lead to a socialist dictatorship. They do not believe in a public role. They are anti-governance. So this is not an issues fight or a legislative fight. It's a values fight for our country, that we value the health and well-being of the American people, and we recognize that their financial stability is related to their health stability. The Medicaid expansion, as the distinguished leader said, this isn't just about the 20 million people who now have access to quality, affordable health care. It's about over 150 million families who have better care, better benefits. Again, no lifetime limits, no pre-existing condition ban, and some of the other provisions that I mentioned. Better benefits, lowering the increase in cost, improving the health. Not just the health care, but the good health of America. It's about prevention, it's about nutrition, it's about so many things that perhaps they don't understand. But what we do understand is they do not believe in public policy that affects the good health of the American people. And that is why we are going to have this resolution debated on the floor today, voted tomorrow. From day one, Congressman Colin Allred, a freshman from Texas, led the way. House Democrats voted to throw the full legal weight of the Democrats in the House of Representatives, and we hope that some Republicans would join us, against the Texas lawsuit. He's from Texas. But more than 190 Republicans voted to be fully complicit in everything that this monstrous proposal puts forth. So now, because of President Trump's actions, which are to be condemned, that lawsuit is even more dangerous than it was in January, and that is why we are bringing forth the Allred resolution this week. The American people deserve to know exactly where their representatives stand on the Trump administration's vicious campaign to take away their health care. This is so interesting because the president has been trying to do away with the Affordable Care Act from day one. We know that. And the way it was protected was not just by our inside maneuvering. It was because of the outside mobilization of so many groups, many who are present here today. 10,000 events. They had 10,000, end Alzheimer's, 10,000 events around the country. The little lobbyists, the patient advocacy groups, HCAN, Protect Our Care, all kinds of organizations and individuals coming forth with the power of their individual stories. It wasn't just about statistics, as compelling as they are. It was about the individual stories, and the individual stories of little children born with a pre-existing condition, whose families need everything there. They need the health care, but they need Medicaid as well. Little children with a pre-existing condition, the president is saying to them, you now have a lifetime limit on the care, the insurance you can receive. Saying to little children, your pre-existing condition is going to ban you from having health care that is affordable. You can have health care, but the cost will go through the roof. That's what the president is saying to these little children, not to mention every other age group and what he's saying to seniors as far as Medicare and Medicaid, et cetera, are concerned. So Democrats will fight for the people. For the people agenda for all of us was lowering health care costs, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, preserving the pre-existing medical condition as we increase the paycheck to increase their financial security, and have H.R. 1, which is our fight against big dark money in politics. When we pass that as the law of the land, the American people have confidence that we can lower their prescription drug prices, protect their health care, increase their paychecks. And again, today is Equal Paycheck Day, so Equal Pay Day. So hooray for us for passing under Rosa DeLaura's leadership, equal pay for equal work. They're all connected because it's about the financial as well as the health security of the American people. And now it is my privilege to bring to the podium, yield the podium in front of the Supreme Court to Senator Shaheen, who has been such a tremendous leader on this subject in the United States Senate and in the country. Senator Shaheen.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Speaker Pelosi. I'm honored to be here with Leader Schumer, with Speaker Pelosi, with Congressman Allred, and with all of our colleagues from the House and Senate. We are here this morning to say that we oppose the Trump administration's effort to overturn health care for Americans, and we are going to make the case every way we can that all Americans in this country deserve access to affordable health care when they need it. The Department of Justice scheme to completely invalidate the Affordable Care Act puts millions of Americans at risk of being unable to afford or simply not be able to have access to their current health care plans. This assault on Americans' health care cannot go unanswered, which is why today I'm joining my colleagues in the Senate, all 47 of the Democrats, 45 Democrats, 2 independents, to introduce a resolution that calls on the Department of Justice to reverse its position in the Texas v. United States lawsuit. More than 20 million of our family members, friends, and neighbors across the country have gained access to health care coverage that they need and deserve through the Affordable Care Act. Already, 7 million of them have lost access to health insurance because of the actions of this Trump administration. And if the law is overturned, those living with pre-existing conditions stand to lose the most. Children like Bodie from Concord, a young boy who lives with spinal muscular atrophy. It's a disease that affects his mobility and that costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in necessary medication to keep him alive. Well, if the Trump administration has its way, millions like Bodie could be denied insurance coverage because of their disease. Insurers will be able to jack up costs or even cut off coverage after medical bills reach an arbitrary threshold. Repealing the ACA and unraveling the progress that we've made is reckless. We know we need to do things to make the law work better, but as policymakers, our job is to fix laws to work better for everyone. Now, there are a lot of reasons why we should work together to fix our health care system. More than 20 million reasons, and they live in Republican and Democratic districts throughout the country. And it's their health care that's at stake. But for that, we need Republicans, our Republican colleagues, to come to the table and to defend their constituents instead of the president.
Yes. Right.
Ensuring the health and safety of the American people should transcend politics. So I say this to Senate and House Republicans. You have a choice. You can sit idly by while the president strips your constituents of their health care, or you can work with us to protect Americans' care and improve the system. Now, I'd like to introduce Representative Colin Allred from Texas, who is leading efforts on a similar resolution in the House. Representative.
Well, good morning, and thank you, Speaker Pelosi, Senator Shaheen, and Senator Schumer for organizing this effort. I am so proud to be helping to lead this fight. We are here today to say that the United States Congress will not stand idly by while cynical, partisan interests attack the health care of hardworking Americans. I came to Washington to get things done, and I'm proud to lead this resolution to assure Americans that this Congress will not allow protections for people with pre-existing conditions to go back to the bad old days when they're thrown off their health care when they get sick. My home state of Texas has the highest uninsured rate in the country. And if this attack is successful, millions of Texans will have their health care taken away. No law is perfect, which is why I'll work with anyone to protect those with pre-existing conditions and to lower costs across the board for the American people. This is a personal fight for me. My mother is a breast cancer survivor, and my wife Allie and I just had a baby. Both of those are pre-existing conditions. And last year, the day that the House of Representatives voted for the AHCA to repeal the Affordable Care Act, I met a woman named Natalie Cortez. Natalie came to my event that day from chemotherapy. She had stage 4 cancer. And she told me that her goal was to fight her cancer for as long as possible so that her 2 children, Hugo and Mia, would know her. Natalie was a lawyer, married to a law professor at SMU in Dallas. And I'm proud that her husband, Nathan, who survives her, joined me at the State of the Union earlier this year. Unfortunately, we lost Natalie, but her fight goes on. She spent her final months, while she was saying her goodbyes, while she was making her preparations, talking to her friends and neighbors, posting on social media, going to events, and talking about the importance of health care and how this shouldn't be a partisan issue. And that's why I urge my Republican colleagues in the House and the Senate to put politics aside and to join us in standing up for the health care of all Americans. Natalie deserves no less. And now more than ever, it's time for the United States Congress to be on the side of the people. On the very first day of this Congress, we took action to make sure that the House of Representatives would stand up and defend the Affordable Care Act in court. And this week, we will continue that action. This resolution is a good first step, but I urge my colleagues, as I said, to join us in this effort and to make sure that we continue to fight to stabilize the healthcare system, to lower costs, to lower the cost of prescription drugs, and to do what the American people sent us to do, here to do, which is to deliver for them. Thank you so much.
Good job. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Good job.